Today, on a different bid for accountability, Steve Bannon reporting to federal prison in Connecticut for defying a January 6th committee subpoena. He's sentenced to 4 months, meaning Bannon will get out just days before the November 5th election. Bannon is the second Trump ally convicted for criminal contempt of Congress, along with Peter Navarro. Bannon recently spoke to NBC's Vaughn Hilliard, vowing retaliation.
In his Justice Department to do what they should do, to start investigations of how the Justice Department weaponized the legal system against the MAGA movement and President Trump and his followers. There's going to be plenty of time for that.
Joining me now is Josh Green, national correspondent with Bloomberg and the author of Devil's Bargain, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, and the storming of the presidency. Josh, it's good to have you here. As we speak, you and I, Steve Bannon is literally, finally, behind bars. Your reaction?
Yeah. You know, my first reaction is it sort of makes the book's title, Devil's Bargain, feel even more poignant. You know, what I wrote about back then was sort of how this partnership had come together. But I say in the book that most of Donald Trump's business partners end up unhappy. And here Steve Bannon is headed off to federal prison. But that being said, you know, as he is prone to do, turned it into a media circus. He's using it, I think, to try and amplify and enhance his brand. And, you know, every indication he's given publicly is that this is a great thing and sort of furthers his story, as we heard in that clip, that the Biden Justice Department is somehow persecuting Trump-friendly Republicans.
Yeah, and so, Josh, we hear Bannon's vow several times, including right then with Vaughn Hilliard, that the retaliation is the plan. I mean, plain as day, right? They don't try to hide it. And yet, your thoughts now, considering what the Supreme Court just ruled today in terms of this kind of cloak of official acts being able to be used to provide immunity. So if retaliation is the name of the game, it sounds like the Supreme Court just said, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, here you go.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, usually when Bannon says these kind of things, he's looking to provoke a reaction. He's looking to get media attention. I'm pretty sure that was the case here. Certainly, Trump would have more leeway to retaliate if that's what he decides to he wants to do if he gets elected. But I do think for Bannon, like the fact that he's going off to jail is sort of not the way he would write the script himself if he could. But the fact that it's only a 4-month sentence, it could have been longer. I was talking to an ally of his before the sentencing who said, listen, if the sentence is less than 6 months, what I expect is for Bannon to sort of treat himself as if he were Nelson Mandela, a political prisoner. And sure enough, that's what we saw on the steps of the prison today as he was going in, putting himself into this narrative of Trump MAGA world persecution, which I think he believes will enhance his brand, will enhance the image of him as loyal foot soldier to Trump. You know, and ultimately redound to his benefit, at least in a kind of media MAGA world sense.
And then there's this idea, Steve Bannon telling Vaughn Hilliard that Donald Trump is a moderate, using the phrase moderate, and when it comes to MAGA. And yet, to the point that you just made, Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, some of the 1-6 riders, right? They're the only ones that are doing jail time for a moderate Donald Trump.
Well, you know, I think when you look at what's going on here, you know, Bannon taking pride in the fact that he'd been sentenced to prison, it's almost as if prison time has become a new badge of honor or a sort of mark of loyalty to you know, true fealty to Donald Trump. Navarro had said he doesn't want to be pardoned. He doesn't want to be let out early. You know, Bannon is referring to himself as a political prisoner. I think, you know, as these things become more extreme, as some of these MAGA followers become, you know, ever more extreme in what they're doing, this is just another marker of how far out of the norm things have skewed. That somebody who was his campaign director, who was a chief White House strategist, is now heading into a federal prison.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.